We li-
Yeah.
And we are live with another edition of Deep Recruiting. Welcome, everybody. I've been told I failed to introduce myself a little bit. So, just by a quick way of introduction, I've been recruiting for 29 years and have learned a lot of A B testing, what works, what doesn't work, whole lot of sales training that I've applied to the recruiting processes and have come up with quite a bit of stuff that the purpose of this is basically just to share, to get this knowledge out there, to help you become a better recruiter, more professional, and also, frankly, to help candidates navigate the process of looking for a job. So, today's topic is really geared more towards recruiters, and it is geared towards candidate management. Specifically, what I want to focus on is frame control. As a recruiter, you must maintain control of the process. And candidates, you need to give them that control. You've got to trust the professional to do their job. And I'm going to give you an example before I jump too deep into this. This is actually a couple of decades old example, but I had a couple of things I wanted framed for my home. One of them was my diploma. There were a couple other items in there. One was my wife's diploma. And I went in and I'm talking to the framer who was recommended to me because of her artistry and her overall ability to vision it and make it look nice. And I went in there with all these ideas of, oh, I want it to look like X and I want Y and blah, 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 right? And I saw her eyes just sort of start glazing over and her eyes rolling up into her head. And I realized I needed to shut the heck up. And when I saw this, it suddenly dawned on me, and I looked at her, and it was Mary Boudre of Boudre Framing, if you know who that is. I said, Mary, take everything I said, throw it out, just make it look good. She looked at me, and she just said, thank you. Now, I'll admit, I was nervous. I came back a month later, and what I got back was beautiful. So for candidates, you need to give your recruiter that frame control. They know what they're doing. They do it all day long. Recruiters, how do you know when you don't have frame control? I do have a cheat sheet I'm going to be referencing to. One of the ways that a candidate is not giving you control is they're being very vague in their answers. They're not giving you straight answers. And you're going to notice this and you're going to push back and you're going to tell them, hey, I don't deal in vaguisms. And they're going to continue to give you vague, nondescript answers. For example, I asked a candidate this last week, what are you currently making? And he said, around 100K. Now, that's not an answer because around 100K could mean 90,000 to 110,000 in my mind. So I asked him to be specific. You know what the answer was? It's $91,000 a year. So you've got to get that frame control. Because if I told my client, well, they're currently making 100,000, that would have been wrong. Got to be specific. Demanding, when the candidate demands information from you, like you're just trying to get to know them, you're doing an introduction, and they're demanding things like, what does the salary pay? Just send me the job description by email. That's them controlling the process. You can't allow this. When the candidate tells you that they make a lot more money than you, here's a secret, candidate. If you're dealing with a good recruiter, I'll bet actually they're making more than you are. And not following your advice. That's another big one. You'll figure this out as you go along. But here's my number one pet peeve. When you're having a conversation with a prospect, with a candidate, and the feedback you're getting is, yeah, sure, They're not listening to a word you say. When you run into this, you absolutely positively have to nip this in the bud. You cannot allow it to continue. You have to gain control of this conversation. And I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to say, not only do you need to get control of the conversation of the candidate, if you cannot get that control, walk away. As Humongous said in the Mad Max movie, just walk away. It's important that you walk away. It's important for a couple of reasons. If you're out of control of the conversation, you're out of control of the process, you're just blowing in the breeze, hoping to get lucky. That's no way to run your career. Number two, by actually walking away, no matter how good that candidate is, you are armoring yourself and training yourself to get control in the next call. Having the guts to walk away from a candidate that is out of control, you may lose a deal, you may lose a placement, but your career overall is going to win, and you're going to be a lot more successful as a result. Your goal in every interaction is to have the candidate follow you. You, as the recruiter, are the expert. A candidate will not follow you because you've got a job opportunity for them or how nice you are to them. They're going to follow the recruiter who has the internal framing that makes them feel comfortable and taken care of. And the way you do that is you need to behave as if you're entitled, as if success for you is automatic. And when you do that, that's when candidates are going to follow you. Frame control is really the ability to control how a situation or interaction is perceived by others. There are several, you may want to write this down, you may want to listen to this again. There are several iron pillars, for frame control. The first one is you have to reframe your internal belief structure. For example, the candidate is not out of my league. The candidate is lucky I'm even taking the time to talk to them. That's not what you say. That's how you enter the interaction up here in your mind. You have to say things to yourself like, I deserve to win. I deserve to succeed. I am the best recruiter this candidate is ever going to get the opportunity to work for or work with. I am a professional. My reality, that's what's best for me. I am internally validated. There is not a candidate on the planet that should be validating you more than you're validating yourself. You must always be on your inner balance point. You have to have the attitude that you don't care what other people think of you. The only people that should matter to you and what they think of you are your very close personal friends, your parents, and your spouse or significant other. I am a good communicator, even though I flubbed up a few lines in this podcast. I am charismatic. I am lighthearted. It's easy for me to laugh and to smile. I know and see the insecurities and motivations of others, and I see their frame and I flip it on them so that they have the opportunity to enter my frame. I'm full of dopamine and I can think on my feet. I always keep my word. I am unapologetically myself. I'm the same guy out in public as I am in private. Restricting myself from being who I am is nothing more than a weakness. That's for other people, not for me. I am not to be messed with. I am a natural leader. People follow me because they want to. Again, these are the belief structures in your mind. I'm persuasive and effective at influencing others. I'm a leader of other candidates. I don't take grief from anyone. When the candidate is negative to me, I'm going to respond with, yeah, that just doesn't fly with me. Let's just go ahead and wrap this up. It lets the candidate know you're not to be messed with and that you're not going to make changes in your process just to accommodate them. And last, I am going to lead the candidate to where they want to be led. A few more specifics I want to get into. If you're ever asked how long you've been in recruiting, if you look pretty young, I don't anymore, but I got this question 30 years ago when I got started. I would talk about my company's longevity and my company's success. And that's a habit that stuck with me. When somebody says, how long have you been doing it? I will talk about the man years my company and my team has in the business. When a candidate makes a proposal that I don't like, I might answer with, I don't see how I could ever work with that. And if I don't like a question I'm being asked, I can always reply with, can't believe you just said that. Go back and listen to these again. Listen to those iron pillars about how to frame your mind. This is going to take some practice, a lot of practice going into interviews. You're going to fail if you don't have this mind frame and you're working on it. You're going to fail, you're going to fail, you're going to fail again. But it's going to be the recruiter that gets up, dusts themselves off, and does it again that's going to develop the right frame of mind and is going to win in this business. This has been Deep Recruiting. We're going to come at you every week, same time, same channel, with some different ideas, specific tactics you can implement to improve your career, win at this game, and make quota. Thanks a bunch for tuning in. Check us out again. Oh, and you can always email me at deeprecruiting@teamgtn.com with your feedback, ideas, and suggestions, topics for the show for me to cover. deeprecruiting@teamgtn.com. Thanks a bunch, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great week. Make some sales and get ready for Turkey Week next week.